If you're pregnant or just had a baby, you probably have a lot of questions about maternity leave. And they include who qualifies, how much you get paid, what happens if you're self-employed or have another baby too soon. Today, I'll be breaking down everything you need to know before or after your baby arrives. My name is Ifeoluwa. Welcome back to my corner. So we'll start from the beginning. Who actually is eligible? We have the maternity leave and we have the parental leave. For the maternity leave, it is for someone who is pregnant or just gave birth. While for the parental leave, it's for any new parent. It could be the dad or adoptive parent. To qualify for the federal benefits through the employment insurance, you must have worked for a minimum of 600 insurable hours in the past 52 weeks. So that's roughly like 15 weeks of full-time work. If you're self-employed, you can still qualify, but you will have to register for the EI special benefits. And that should be at least 12 months before you make a claim. I will advise that you plan ahead. Now, here's something most people don't realize. Your maternity leave is per pregnancy, not per child. So assuming you have multiple children like twins or triplets, you wouldn't expect to have 2 or 3 maternity leave. It's per pregnancy and not per child. Now, there are cases where people get pregnant while still on maternity leave, and this can be so tricky. So in situations like this, you would have to go back to work to earn another 600 insurable hours before you can qualify. Imagine cases where you are meant to spend 12 months and then you got pregnant 6 months into it, you go back to work, so you can have access to another 600 hours. Please note that only one parent can get access to the leave at a time. So it means that both parents cannot be on leave at the same time. One person would have to resume while the other person will stay back at home. For the maternity benefits, you would have access to 55% of your weekly earnings. And as of 2025, that is like in and around $695 per week. Now to the second category, that's the parental benefits. So for the standard, you will be paid 55% of your earnings per parent for the next 35 weeks. While for the extended, you'll be paid 33% of your earnings for the next 61 weeks. There is also 1 week waiting period before you start getting paid. This is more of like the insurance deductible. If you're planning to have 12 months off, it means you are not getting paid for 52 weeks. You're actually getting paid for 50 weeks. It is very important to apply for these benefits as soon as you stop working. I applied immediately when my leave started, so there was no payment delay for me. Now to the taxes and the top-up. A lot of parents don't realize that this benefit is a taxable income. So what Service Canada does is that it withholds a part of the payments. Sometimes these deductions are not enough. So during the tax season, you might have to pay the government back in some cases, not all. Now to the top-ups. So some organizations, especially the government and even some private ones, they give you a top-up in addition to the payment you are getting from the government. So some give for as long as 12 months, some give for 3 months, some give for 6 months. All these extra top-ups just depend on the organization. These top-ups are not required by law. What is required by law is the one that you are getting directly from the government. If you're employed, you could just ask from your HR. That was what I did in my case. Just contact your HR and ask them if they give top-up before your maternity leave. So now to when and how to apply. Applications are done online through Service Canada. You can start your maternity leave as early as 12 weeks before your due date, while the parental leave kickstarts immediately after you put to bed. These are the following documents that you will need. Number 1 is your SIN, that is your social insurance number. You also need your date of birth and contact information. Your record of employment, that is your ROE, would also be required. Another thing is the proof of pregnancy or birth. Sometimes it might be a medical note or a birth certificate. You would also need the direct deposit information for your payment, to make a transfer into your account. If you're self-employed, your business registration or your tax proof will be needed. After applying, you will receive an access code to track your claim online. Now to how long you can stay home. Like I said, maternity leave gives 15 weeks, while parental leave gives 35 weeks. So if you mix everything, on an average, that's 50 weeks for the standard. But if you are going for the extended parental leave, that's 15 weeks plus 61 weeks. So that's 76 weeks for the extended. Once you start one, you can't change it. For example, if you decided that, I want to go for 12 months and you've already been getting benefits for the 55 weeks, they have different payments and you decide to change it. The only thing that would happen is that, yes, you can contact them, but you will not be paid for the rest. Please always ensure that your employer confirms your extension if you have to extend your leave. Whatever is on the records of your company must tally with what is on the record with the government. So meaning you're extending, you have 14 months with the government, you must also have the same 14 months with your employer. If this is not done, you could lose weeks of pay. For example, in my case, I went on 14-month maternity leave. So I already had an agreement with my employer. I got paid for the first 12 months, but the remaining 2 months was without pay. Like I said earlier, in Canada, both parents can share the parental leave. So that means you can split it, just that you cannot be at home at the same time. So for example, as the mom, you can decide to take the first 9 months and then your spouse takes the remaining 3 months. So in total, it's still the 12 months. So your spouse could take a few parental leave when you are on maternity leave, so you could recover. You know, like I said, the maternity leave is only for the mom that just put to bed. So your spouse can just take part of the parental leave. The parental leave can be shared among both of you, but the maternity leave is only for the mom. So we have parents that just took like a week or two from the parental leave of the mom, so that when she's done with her maternity leave, she will just take the extra that is left. When both parents share the leave, you can actually get a bonus. In fact, I never knew about this until I was doing my research. You can get an extra 5 weeks in addition to the number of weeks that you have. That is if you are sharing. No. Now to the special circumstances. There are a few cases worth knowing. Number 1. The NICU or hospital stay. So in cases where your baby is still in the NICU, you can delay your parental benefit until your baby comes on. Number 2 is that if there are complications or you need bed rest, you can just start your maternity leave up to 12 weeks before your due date. Now for travel, if you have to move out of Canada during the period when you're getting your AI, it's advisable that you inform Service Canada or your payment could pause. However, if you're planning to move from one province to another, you don't need to inform the government because it's a federal benefit, so you can get paid from any part of Canada. Now to returning to work after maternity leave. Under the law, after resumption from maternity leave, your employer must give you the exact same position you were on before you went on leave, or an equivalent. It is protected by the law. Even if someone has taken over your role temporarily, it is yours when you get back to work. In most cases, you have to inform your employer that you are resuming probably in the next 4 weeks. Like in my case, I informed my employer 4 weeks to resumption so that they can get me set up back on the system and I can have access to all my work tools. Common mistakes moms make. Number 1 is not applying early. You have only 4 weeks after the maternity leave to apply, so you don't have issues with your payments. Not keeping your record of employment. We have cases of people that do not keep record of employment. Once they leave one employer, they will just say, well, I'm done, and they move to the new employer. Please, this can also affect your payment. So try as much as possible to keep your ROEs, that is the record of employment. So those are just some of the lessons that I learned. If I have other things, I will try to make another video. If you were able to learn a thing or two from this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, share, and also drop your questions. I will be reading everything and I'll be answering as soon as I can. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye.